Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another game from MLG Columbus 2011. Right here we have a game 3 between two players, so if you haven't seen the first two games, there should be a link at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and click that and go watch those first and then come back. I'll be happy to cast for you then. Now that that's out of the way, this is game 3 between, in the top right, the blue Terran VTPokebunny, and at the top left of Shakura's Plateau, we have the red Protoss player ROOTFayth. So Root versus VT here, two very formidable teams. I'm extremely excited to see what happens here after the first two games. If you remember, ROOTFayth took game 1 with some sneaky hidden tech. He hid a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine on the large map of Typhon Peak, so definitely able to do that effectively because it is such a big map, pretty easy to hide that tech. And in the second game, VTPokebunny chose Naga Caverns, and I theorize that was perhaps because it's a little bit harder to hide tech on that map. I'm sure many can agree with me on that, and he ended up doing a simple 2 racks expansion push, and his 2 racks push actually did quite a bit of damage, killing so many sentries, and ROOTFayth just was not able to come back from that as VTPokebunny kept putting on relentless pressure. And a little bit more about these two players. This is the losers round 8, so the winner of this game will advance to losers round 9, and the loser will be eliminated from MLG Columbus 2011. So I'm sure neither of these players want that to happen, as they give their scouting workers some high fives. And just to note one more time, VTPokebunny once again 79th in the Grandmaster League in North America with a record of 205 and 96, and ROOTFayth 130th in the Grandmaster League. I'm pretty sure that's fairly recent, because the last time I remember looking him up, he was in Masters League, but way high up in Masters League. So definitely congrats to him if that happened recently. But anyway, both these players will be giving it everything they've got in this game. Neither player wants to get eliminated from this tournament. They want to stick around and fight for a spot in the championship bracket. And we do have ROOTFayth once again stealing that gas. We've seen him do that in all 3 of these games. The reason Protoss players do that is to delay or straight up eliminate that fast Banshee Cloak build. But we see VTPokebunny pulling guys off gas anyway, which means he's going to do a fast expand right away. And there it goes. The command center is being put down immediately after the reactor and the barracks. So definitely feel safe about this ramp and about his ability to defend that. I mean, if you put 2 or 3 bunkers up here, you can basically defend from anything unless the Protoss player decides to do some fancy Warp Prism play in like 4 gates up here or something. So VTPokebunny definitely feeling good about this map because he did choose it, and he probably had that in mind from the beginning. It looks like ROOTFayth not intending to put down too crazy fast of an expansion, which could be pretty bad for him. I mean, if your Terran opponent gets up your expansion and you don't either exploit that or get one up ASAP for yourself, it could put you behind economically, and that's never a good thing. And we see VTPokebunny putting his SCVs right back on gas straight away after putting that expansion down. But looks like ROOTFayth will scout out this expansion, and this may encourage him to put down a Nexus of his own after seeing that. So does go to work on that SCV, trying to delay this expansion from going down, and honestly he could kill that SCV if he stayed on it. And you know, the probe losing focus and going for the Marine, but ends up killing it after all, and that is 13 health away from being complete. So delaying that a little bit, always a good thing to delay your opponent as much as you can. And VTPokebunny looks like he's going for a Blink Stalker build, and I say that because he's putting an additional gateway down along with a Twilight Council. But then again, his gas is getting up there, so we could perhaps be seeing another Dark Templar rush, but we'll have to see what units come out of these gateways. And where's your Cyber next for? His Warp Gate research is at about 70%, I'd like to call it. So we'll have to see what he does with that Twilight Council, either Blink or Dark Shrine. I would tend towards Blink because he's getting so many Stalkers out, but we'll have to see about that. And I thought I saw something blue over here, but I guess my mind is just playing tricks on me. And VTPokebunny researching Stim, that is about 10% of the way through, and a pylon going down in the corner of ROOTFayth's base, or ROOTFayth's VTPokebunny's base, I should say. And we'll have to see if VTPokebunny ends up scouting that out. But as I was saying earlier, Terrans feel really comfortable about putting bunkers here because it defends, but it defends from almost anything except tricky warpers in play. But another thing that it's tough against is when a Protoss player goes blinks Stalker and just blinks right past those bunkers. And the thing about this pylon over here is when these Stalkers blink past, he can warp in additional reinforcements up here, completely circumventing those bunkers altogether. So super excited to see how this push turns out. ROOTFayth will be pushing right when that blink completes. I would imagine he does have 3 gateways supporting this and is gearing up to take an expansion behind it, I think. And it looks like VTPokebunny does see all those Stalkers, so perhaps has caught wind of what is going on here and is moving up to the high ground. Not a bad decision. So if the Stalkers do blink past this bunker, his army will be waiting right here to deal with the Stalkers. But ROOTFayth not blinking up there at all, just blinking back. The weakened Stalkers does take out a bunker and some pretty good micro from ROOTFayth, and VTPokebunny just flat out abandoning his expansion for the time being. Doesn't feel he has enough to deal with this, but here we go. He is coming forward with his Marines and Marauders, and ROOTFayth backing up and happy with the damage he has done. He might perhaps proceed back in there and see what more damage he can do, but VTPokebunny completely comfortable with staying on the high ground for now. Here we go. ROOTFayth advancing up the ramp, almost loses a Stalker but blinks away, and now VTPokebunny has stim, so ROOTFayth has to be really careful not to lose any more Stalkers than he absolutely cannot save, and he does get away with about 7 Stalkers there, actually 8 Stalkers. So VTPokebunny actually pretty good handling of that situation, getting that expansion out of the way, only down to about 80% of its health. So VTPokebunny definitely in a good situation here, and ROOTFayth proceeding forward with these Stalkers. Let's go back and look at his base really quick. He does have his Templar Archives going up extremely fast, so we're seeing this a lot from ROOTFayth. In game 1 he got this at about the same time, and he got Storm completed by like the 10-minute mark. So ROOTFayth definitely favoring that early high Templar Storm play, and Blink Stalker definitely does tend to transition into that fairly nicely because you already have that Twilight Council down, and you can just get that Templar Archives because that's the next thing on that tech tree. So it looks like ROOTFayth is just content with keeping his opponent contained while he remains on 2 bases. He does transfer a majority of his probes down to his natural expansion, so his probe count definitely is getting up there, and it looks like his economy is going to start boosting ahead of his opponent if VTPokebunny doesn't do anything anytime soon, and ROOTFayth just sacrificing a Stalker there. I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't have a sentry or 2 down here to try to keep VTPokebunny in his base as long as possible, but as I see that, VTPokebunny bringing forward 2 medevacs, which should be enough to deal with this contain. He does pull an SCV down there to see what's up at the bottom, and ROOTFayth will have his hands full dealing with his army. He has to blink away immediately, and he does. It runs away, leaving 1 Stalker behind, and VTPokebunny may decide to counter here. And is ROOTFayth prepared? I mean, Storm is almost done, so it will all come down to how soon these Marines and Marauders get there, if they can get there before Storm completes. And it's gonna be close, ladies and gentlemen. These Storms, I don't know, I would like to see ROOTFayth get some High Templars over here and try to hit some Storms from the high ground. So we'll have to see if he ends up doing that, and some feedbacks on these medevacs, definitely a thing to look out for. And is Storm finished? Yes, Storm is finished right on time. So here we go, ROOTFayth's coming forward with these Templar, and VTPokebunny does see this right away, so he will be a little bit cautious coming forward with this attack, but he's loading up and is going to probably... Oh, he's splitting off his medevacs. I thought he was going to do a little bit of an elevator trick and go to the high ground, but in fact he is splitting up his army to the natural and the main expansion. ROOTFayth some very good micro there, taking off that medevac, blinking forward, and Blink is really good at dealing with drops along with feedback. So ROOTFayth definitely adequately prepared for this aggression, but does he have the micro to be able to handle it? VTPokebunny is having a drop at the natural expansion, but ROOTFayth immediately blinking forward, targeting down the medevac. Definitely the thing you should focus on. He also has a drop in the main, so ROOTFayth finds himself stretched out by this army, but a Storm does go down on the Marine Marauder army of VTPokebunny, and honestly, VTPokebunny doing a lot of damage here, taking out a lot of units, and finds himself ahead in the supply, 101 to 62, and some Storm going on his own zealous from ROOTFayth, unfortunately, and that drop doing so much damage back in the main mineral line, and VTPokebunny definitely ahead at this point in the game, has to be feeling good about his chances to move on in MLG Columbus 2011. Once again, the winner of this game will move on to the next round, and ROOTFayth does not look good for the time being, finds himself down 100 to 66 supply, and VTPokebunny, look at this army at the front of his natural expansion. Plenty of Marines and Marauders, along with some medevacs back in his main and continuing to be produced out of that star part. We also have a factory not producing anything, just sitting there, and 4 barracks ready to go in his main, and also taking his third. Feels comfortable enough that he won't be facing any sort of aggression because of the lead he has. He doesn't feel like he's gonna encounter any aggression from his Protoss opponent because of the amount of damage he did in his opponent's base. And he does have a Ghost Academy going down, along with some Ghosts being produced. Ghosts are so good in Terran versus Protoss. I do not know why more Terrans don't use that amazing unit. Of course, an EMP does so much damage to the Protoss army, and ROOTFayth only has 4 Templar and about 3 Zealots. Is that really all he has? Let me look at the units tab, I should say. 8 Templar, 1 Stalker, and 6 Zealots. So no meat in this army, if I may use that term. He only has 5 Spellcasters, and that's never I mean, it's a good thing, but it's not enough to deal with such a ferocious army. I mean, 1 EMP and your army is completely useless, and grouping together all his sentries and his High Templars, and the EMP hits absolutely every single one of them. So no force fields, no storms, and ROOTFayth is forced to morph his High Templars into Archons. Archons are good, but against this many Marines and Marauders, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. What a bunny EMP from VTPokebunny. That was absolutely crucial that he hit that. Of course, it got rid of all those storms and all those force fields that potentially could have been put down by ROOTFayth, and so much damage being done by VTPokebunny. This could be the end of ROOTFayth's run through the losers bracket of MLG Columbus 2011, and VTPokebunny advancing forward, targeting down that Archon and kiting away from the Zealots. And of course, the sentries are there to heal up his Marine and Marauder force, and ROOTFayth lays down the GG, so VTPokebunny will advance forward to losers bracket round 9 in MLG Columbus 2011, and ROOTFayth is unfortunately eliminated from the tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'm casting a bunch of replays from MLG Columbus 2011 in case you haven't noticed. So if you haven't seen any of the videos I've casted so far, I would definitely recommend Ostoji against 6 Jacks Major. That was probably the best Terran versus Zerg that was not streamed live at MLG Columbus. So definitely check that series out. Super awesome series. And anything else, if you have any suggestions for games you want to see from the tournament, just go ahead and send me a message or try to contact me in some way, and I'll get that done. And if you want to see more of me, Sundays and Mondays I cast the Go for SE2 Cup North American versions, and that is on my stream at justin.tv/AxelToss. So definitely check me out there. I interact a lot with the chat and have a lot of fun casting those cups live. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll be back with more MLG Columbus 2011 later when I find the time. And again, I appreciate that you are watching me, and I would appreciate if you could subscribe, because one real pain I have right now is I can't make videos over 15 minutes, so it gets a little dicey when I get those long 60-minute games and I have to split them into 7 parts, and that's no fun. So I'd really appreciate it if you can subscribe for that reason. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.